everyone, welcome back to Got to Go Prepared, and thank you for tuning in. Today I want to do a couple quick reviews on a couple knives. First being this Schrade. See that? It's the Schf 36. I've had this for a little while, had it out of the box, but really hadn't used it a whole lot, so I just wanted to do a first impression on the blade. I actually had the larger version of this one too. I bought for my brother, and he's had it. He lives up in Kentucky and absolutely loves it, and he tends to abuse a knife, and it's so far intact. The other one is the Stroud Ultimate Survival Knife, which I think he's had some of these versions on his show, which, you know, we know Les can survive with some pocket lint and a multi-tool or less, but I want to talk about this one a little bit too. I'll talk about the Stroud knife first. This one doesn't belong to me, but I have got it on loan. It is Stroud survival knife, like I said. A couple features about it. It runs about $30 and some change on Amazon. And I'll just read off here the features. It's a knurled steel pommel. Its blade length is 4.75 inches. Overall is 10. It is a titanium bonded 440 stainless steel with non-stick drop point with partial serrations. Let's take a look at this. Of course, it's got this part plastic, part nylon sheath with a small mesh pocket on the back, with some survival instructions that fit in there, and a belt loop. Like I said, I haven't used it. I may come back after the person I borrowed this from has used it for a little bit, see how the case holds up. Of course, Velcro to hold it in, snaps in. You can see that. As you can see here, partial serrated. This here, you can see Les Stroud's signature and Kalmus's who made the blade. This is a little notch here for the ferrocerium rod that comes on it. Handle, place for a lanyard, pommel for striking, hammering, what have you. It doesn't feel too bad in the hand. Grip feels okay. I felt better, but my first impression is just looking at it. I thought it kind of looked a bit cheap. I mean, it's a $30 knife, but colors do stand out. If you did drop it on the ground with the backdrop of the woods here behind the house, you can see that green really helps it stand out, which is a positive. Same with the case. We'll come back and do a few cuts with the knife. As far as the case, it has a sharpener built in. It's fair. I think it'll keep a decent edge. I think you should always have other tools with you to keep that blade sharp, but if that's all you had, it'll work great. It's got a small mirror. This little pocket opens so you can slide, I don't know, something in there that you might need. Maybe some tinder or something. Good for signaling and checking your face. If you got a, let me adjust this just a bit. If you got a, people that a lot of times say this is good for signaling, which yes, you can signal with a mirror for sure. Other thing is, if you walking through the woods and a branch hits you or something like that, you might not be able to see where it's at. You may need to see where that wound's at so you can take care of it. Is another good feature of having a mirror as well. Also, with this, in this case, on this side, you pull this out. We have a fire striker. I'll do a couple strikes with that in a second. I did a couple. My person I bought it from tried it a little bit. They didn't know what it was. They got it as a gift, and it has a small LED flashlight. Let me just see if I can get the camera. hey, better than not having anything, for sure. In the dark, that would shine pretty good. Also has paracord wrap. So you could, if you counted the mirror as communication, and you stuffed maybe a few first aid items in here, sharpener, you got your cordage, you got your blade. This little knife has quite a few nice features on it. Let's pull it out and do some cuts and also do a couple strikes. I'm going to lay this down and tilt the camera just a bit and see if we can see some strikes on this. See if you can see those with the camera. It's a bit hard to. It is throwing off a decent little spark. If you got some good dry tinder and you wasn't in a real serious situation, you could get dry. I believe if you have some experience and practice with it, you definitely get you a fire started with that. It's better than trying to do a bow drill. That's a step up for sure. Now let's do a couple cuts with it, and I will adjust the camera for everybody to see just a bit. And I'm not big on Schrade, shredded edges. I think they're good for cutting clothing or seat belt, webbing, and things of that nature. But you know, it takes a little bit of that small task work I can do with it way back here. So I'm going to have to, if I wanted to do a few curls, I'm going to have to really try to. And this might not be the best stick for it. Don't really have a place to get those close spots like I want to get. And of course I'm not the best at this. There's guys better than me out there doing these, but I can do curls. But I am having trouble doing them with this. Of course there's not a good 90-degree spine. I'd probably modify that and put a 90-degree spine on this. Just so I could do some shaving with it if I wanted to, since this is these serrated edges in here. I might even have somebody grind those out for me if this was mine. Sharp out of the box though. I mean, it's a 440 stainless blade and it's coated, so it's not going to rust on you, but you know, not too bad, I guess. Let's see how it does in batoning a piece of wood. Not too bad. Get the job done on a small piece. I wouldn't want to try to split a piece of green wood with it, but you can find some good dry wood. I think this works pretty good. I think I'll just, those are just a few minor tasks. Of course you can do with this knife. There's a lot of things we could put this knife through. It's fairly sharp out of the box. My first impression's a good starter knife. 30 bucks if you get all the survival things. A lot better than the survival knife I had back in the mid 80s when I was a kid. You know, the big bulb compass in the end had all the stuff in it, and the blade, if you used it, it snapped off at the handle. But overall, good knife. Of course we know Les Stroud could survive in the woods with way less than this, probably with my broken old survival knife. But first impressions, it's a decent knife, nice case, has some good features with the fire striker and the cordage already in there. Ballistic nylon case with the plastic, so there you go. And the next one I want, get a good look at that. I've done some modifications pretty much out of the box. I haven't really used it in the woods yet. Have done some cutting with it and some minor stuff. Out of the box, I love this knife. It's heavy duty. You can see the thickness of the steel. Got some good jimping right there to hold it. It's got this groove here where you can really do some small tasks, bushcraft. This coating on it, a lot of people don't like this coating. I don't mind it. I think it takes the glare, protects the blade, especially with 440 stainless. I mean, not stainless, but the carbon steel blade. What I did is I stripped off just the top layer because it's got a good 90-degree spine on it to make strikes with it, and it strikes really good because all I need is that steel exposed a little bit to strike a ferro rod. Very, very sharp out of the box, like the grips. I know Schrade has another one of these versions coming out, I think a 50 and 52. Same blade as this one and the larger version of this with some minor differences on it. One of the differences I think you're going to be able to get is the micarta handles, which I would love, to have the micarta handles on this one. I like these grips, but I'd love to have micarta on this, would make it just perfect. But I believe I give 35 roughly on this for a high carbon steel blade with that kind of thickness. I mean, it's great. Of course, I added the paracord lanyard on the back of it. It comes with this case here. The best feature on this case, I can say I like, is this, because I don't have to take my belt off to put it on. I can just put it on my belt and go. It's the ballistic nylon. It's got a snap, not just Velcro, and it's got a plastic liner in it, which I just put that in backwards. Twice. Oh, there we go. Not perfect. That keeps it from cutting through, and it holds on there nice. And of course, I like black. Can't go wrong with black. Of course, under here, you have a sharpening stone Schrade provides, which is I think a better one than the one you just slide through. And it does come with a ferrocerium rod in it, which I have taken out or dropped, one of the two. But what I did, I like this case, and my brother has the larger version, and he still kept it. He still has this case. But what I did is I changed this case and made my own, and there's the ferrocerium rod that came with it. I forgot I stuck it in here. But I made a Kydex sheath for it, and it's pretty tight. You know, do like most of you guys, look on YouTube, figure out how to make it myself. I put a drop-down dangler handle on it, locked it in, my ferrocerium rod in here, paracord. Now I can wear this as a dangler, keep it on my way I'm working, but I've also set it up where I did the Kydex as this is stretch, so I can snap this over my belt, lock it in place, and wear it, you know, a little bit higher on there if I want to. I may do a video on how I did that sometime. There's a ton of videos on how to make a knife, and this ain't fancy and pretty as some that are out there. Of course, I've only done a few of these Kydex sheaths, but I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. It don't have to be pretty, it has to function. But the ferrocerium rod that it comes with, we'll lay that down there for a minute and see if we can see some strikes on this. And I didn't have to strip the whole knife to get that done. I just shaved off a little bit of the top so I could get that 90-degree spine, and this ferrocerium rod works great. Of course, I have the steel piece that comes with to do it. They provide that because they have the coating, which you wouldn't be able to strike it with the coating on. I just left the steel on there, but I took the coating off the spine of the knife. Lay that down and see if we can do some curls with this knife. A little bit different. Like I said, price point's under 40 bucks for this blade. High carbon steel by Schrade. Schrade does a great knife. I've had Schrade knives since I was a kid. I say some of the ones I had were a lot of folders back then. Wasn't near the quality as this one, but Schrade's always made a good knife and got a great name. A lot of great products that are coming out, and as I can afford to get some of them, I'll get them and review them, or find somebody who's got one, borrow it, and do a review on it to show you guys. Because I mean, I think they're great blades for the money, especially for the common man who doesn't have 200 bucks for a knife. you can get this knife and put this in your bag or in your kit. I mean, $30 under $40 price point. I mean, you could afford to buy a couple of them. Let's do some curls here. I'm going to tilt this so we can see this a little better. And of course, let me see if I got a better stick than that one. The way the wind blows around here sometimes in all the trees, I'm on a shortage of sticks, but I cleaned them up recently. This is pretty dry. I mean, out of the box, this one's not a good stick to do curls on. Try the other one. I think it's the type wood we got there. Now this one I'd done some curls on before when it was less dried out and rotten. There we go. And because it has this here, I could really get on it, and there's no Schrades on it. It's a Schrade knife, but no serrations on the blade, so I can really work it good. And I can, at 90-degree spine, I can do some scraping on it as well. And of course that coating's keeping it protected, so I can just wipe it off and clean it. Let's baton a piece of wood with it. I'm sure as heavy as this is, it won't take much. Yep, not a problem. Not a problem with this knife. The reason I chose to go with this knife and keep this one, and the larger one of the two, like I said, I give it to my brother for Christmas because he didn't have a good survival knife. He gets these crazy stainless steel cheap ones, breaks them on our first trip out. He's got a couple small hunting knives that are really good knives with gut hooks and stuff like that because he hunts a lot, but he didn't have a good bushcraft knife. So I wanted to give him a big one. I kept the small one because I really didn't have a shorter blade. I have the my bigger blade knife is the BK7, which it stands for itself. It's been out for a long time, and it's my longer, bigger blade knife. I may show it sometime on a video because I made a Kydex sheath for that. A friend of mine who served 20 years in 5th Group Special Forces looked at it and looked at the rig and how I'd set the Kydex sheath up with the other stuff on it, and he was impressed by it and really liked it, so I thought it was pretty cool that I had the okay and the stamp of approval from a Green Beret. But this knife right here, I really like it. I would take this one in the woods and depend on it for whatever I needed. And of course I put the lanyard. If you look at the guy, what's his name, Lefty, or the SAS guy that did the SAS handbook, always talked about having that lanyard on it, so if you drop the knife, you got it, or you can do small tasks and pick your knife back up. Always a good idea to put a lanyard on your most vital piece of gear. But I mean, I can't say enough about this knife. I really like it. Like the Schrade products. And gonna look at some more in the future by Schrade because they got a lot of nice stuff coming out. And if you do it yourself, for guys out there, excuse me, you know, get online and look at how to order some Kydex, or if you've got a Tandy Leather nearby. Tandy Leather carries black Kydex usually here in the Nashville area, and I just, you know, you can go down there and pick some up there as well. Kydex, rivets, screws, glove, and a heat gun or a small toaster oven, and make you a little heat press, and you can make one as well. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. I want to thank you for watching. Please remember to click like and subscribe, and share it with some others if it helped. And we'll be back soon with some more videos. Some upcoming things I want to talk about in the future, of course, is I have a background in fitness, and I used to be a personal trainer. Can't tell it as much lately, but trying to get back in that shape to, in any situation, it's great to be in shape, and I want to talk about some of the things that I do on that and some of the things I've learned over the years and my expertise, as well as some wild edibles. And I may talk about, some of you guys can see in the backgrounds a couple times, my garden and things like that. And I do a little bit of gardening and have a few plants that are natural indigenous plants that the native people all up and down the eastern woodlands ate, that I've been cultivating and raising as myself too, and I'll talk about some of those in the future. But you guys have a great day, and thanks again for watching.